This is a podcast with Lyman Chao, CEO at Keller Peninsula Estates, and Chris Airy from Compendium Solutions. Welcome to Leaders with Suspicions. I hope you enjoy.
So, welcome to the podcast, and really nice to meet you. Could you introduce yourself, where you are today, your business, and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. My name's Lyman Chao. I am the CEO team leader of Keller Peninsula Estates here in Burlingame, California. And we're a real estate brokerage. We help people buy and sell real estate. And, um, we've been in the news quite a bit lately in the last, I would say the last year or so. There's been a lot of talk about real estate and how real estate's being done. So there's a lot of changes in our industry, and um, our brokerage is I kind of say small but mighty, but we're a little bit more unique. We're a franchise, so each office is individually owned and operated. And yeah, um, what else would you like to know?
So, you've been in the news, or have you been talking about the changes, or are you talking about the
Yeah.
industry? Yeah.
Okay. So if you don't know, there has been a very famous lawsuit coming out of I forgot which in the Midwest somewhere, and it changed the way we now work with buyers in the sense that this contract has always been there, and I'm kind of beating a dead horse, but from the industry standpoint, but from a consumer standpoint, um, not everybody knows how real estate was, what the differences are. So, back when, let's see, I'm trying to dial back on the dates here. The new rules started August 17, 2024. So that's when the change happened. So, uh, and even before then, for us specifically, we made rule changes within our brokerages to already prepare agents to work with the new rules that are coming out as of August 17th. So as of January 1st, we already went ahead and did make those changes within in-house when before the requirements even came down the chute. And a big part of it is really the main plaintiff was saying that commissions were not negotiable, which actually isn't true. Commissions have always been negotiable. In certain cases, um, I guess some people maybe fixed their commission and whatnot, and maybe told them that it was not negotiable. But commissions have always been negotiable since day one. And with that, uh, it started a class action lawsuit against the National Association of Realtors, and being part of Keller Williams, I think by agent count, we are the largest brokerage in the world, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, so about 100, I forgot what the last number was, 170,000 plus agents with KW. So um yeah, so that happened. Yes, we were in the news, and our company eventually settled the lawsuit. So Gary Keller did a great thing to protect all the agents within KW, and they settled. So with those changes that came into place, now as a buyer, we're always going to have a contract where previously there was no contract required, right? If Chris, you wanted to buy a property, I can show you this lovely property on 123 Main Street. And now it's different. Before you want to step foot into the property, I go, Chris, in order for me to show your property, I need to be your representative. And it just creates a clear expectation from both sides. which in my mind I think is the positive thing. So, and then we talk about compensation and what the process looks like and moving forward until we find you a home that you like. And then seller side, same, kind of kept the same. Um, uh, and commissions can still be paid by seller, but everything's now, you know, I wouldn't say it becomes negotiable now. It's always been negotiable. It's more of you have to, there's more discussion around it is the best way to put it.
Okay. So, tell me a bit about your part of the business then. So you've got a territory, I guess, for the a franchise, have you?
Yes. So we in the KW world we call them market centers
Okay.
or offices, and we're known for having a lot of acronyms. So if I say an acronym and you go, "What is that?" Just ask me. So what what I do on a daily basis or what my role is, I'm essentially the CEO. I guide the direction of the office. Um, from recruiting talent, right? Recruiting agents to making sure we look over budget. You have the financial piece, you have the recruiting piece, and then you have the operation piece. And I oversee all three.
Okay. And what's the
Uh,
size of the office you've got?
we have about 330 agents in our
Oh,
office. So quite a
big team.
yeah,
Yeah.
we have quite a few agents in our office. Our leadership team. We have six, seven of us, plus some additional assistants. So yeah, we run a we run a pretty tight ship. Um, and yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So take me back to your beginning of your career in this industry. What was the eureka moment when you went, "Hey, real estate, running an office in a real estate industry is for me"? How did you get from there to now?
I don't know if it's still for me, so I'm gonna preface that first. I would say this position is probably the most difficult position or demanding position. So I started off in real estate in 2020 as a realtor. So I was part of an association called ARIA, which is the Asian Real Estate Association of America. And in my previous life, I was in insurance. So I've been in that industry for 10 plus years. And as I was going into, I was voted in to be president of this association for the local chapter. And I go, oh, maybe I should get a real estate license. And eventually I go, okay, I got it. And I started getting some requests and I kind of just fell into it. But as you know, 2020 was COVID.
Yep.
And I came in at a time when real estate came to a screeching halt. And for a long time, it was tough to learn anything because classes weren't being done. Education was tough. Nobody was allowed to go in the office. So eventually, 2021 came around. I started to do more real estate, and um, my office now that I'm in, I actually interviewed with them back in 2019. So I've always had an idea of this office, um, and and had an idea that Keller Williams was really good with training, and they have world-class training, right? Education. So by the time I think this was, when was this? 2022. I started here 23, 24. Okay. So 2022, I actually joined this company, and then midway through I left, funny enough. So um because of we have this thing called a KPA. It's called a Keller Personality Assessment. It will tell you. If you don't know yourself, after you take this test, you will definitely know yourself. It gives
Okay.
you, it's pretty darn accurate. It's pretty interesting. If you'd like to take one, Chris, I'm happy to send one over to you and we can go over it at another time. And in this personality test, it pegged me to be like I was 100% match for this position, which was kind of interesting. And my predecessor was um, asked asked if I would be interested in taking over for her. I immediately said no. And I said, no, I'd rather do real estate. I think I'm going to go. And um, at the end of the day, I thought about it for a couple months and I was like, you know what? I'll, you should always be open to opportunity and uh, find out, what it is before you say no. So I went down the rabbit hole and interviewed, met with everybody, went through this Keller personality assessment, and yeah, then started this position, not really knowing what I needed to do and what it really entails. Because if you've ever interviewed for any job, that what they tell you is not really what you do, or the situation is never what it seems, right? So I quickly learned, and for me, I just kind of applied how I used to run my businesses. And I took that know-how and I applied it to this company. I think,
When you say which business, previous businesses were those? When you were in insurance, did you have your own business? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
yeah. So I owned my own agencies and I ran them kind of the same. Small, efficient, dynamic team and just being highly effective. So
Let's explore that a little bit then, because the podcasts are generally about how you've become a leader and your path. So, how did you learn um, to run a business? Yeah. So,
uh failing. Making making bad decisions. Yeah. I I wish I can say I knew everything from the beginning, but I didn't. I'm still learning now. I'm still learning how to navigate certain situations. Uh, you know, I had I needed to continue to change and educate myself to be a better leader. Um, I will tell you when I started managing people, I was not the best manager. Um, I think I ruled with an iron fist, and that put me in at odds with team members because I thought I was doing good things for them, but I wasn't. And things would sour and I didn't understand. So it it took a lot of failures and hits for me to understand, okay, how do I make this person better? How do I help this person improve? And it also comes down to what is this person good at? Can and does this person have the right seat on the bus? So yeah, it's a lot of self-awareness, self-discovery, um, removing ego. You definitely have to remove ego when you're in leadership. Um, I don't know if that's counterintuitive. And I've never looked at myself as a leader. I looked at myself as I'm in there and I'm willing to do whatever you're willing to do. And whatever goal we have, we will figure it out together. So instead of telling people to push you, you're everybody's pushing all at once.
so
Um,
were you born that self-aware and born that humble, or were there some influences in your life or some moments where life slapped you around the face and you became more perceptive and self-aware?
um, today's my mom's birthday actually, and I think I attribute a lot of it to my mom. She she's very caring. she's always looking out for other people first, right? She's worked very, very hard all her life. So yeah, I think for me, I just want to work hard, help other people, um, and execution, right? Making sure things are done efficiently. I don't know if I picked this up from somebody else. I'm trying to think who in my family might influence this for me, but I like to be efficient and I like to be quick with getting certain things done and not let them drag on. Um, and I don't mind pulling long hours, and that's definitely from my mom and my dad's side actually. So they they worked a lot. I think they're immigrants, so that's probably where I get it from. I don't know.
Okay, so you talked before about learning to manage people and so on. So um, that that is a challenging thing. So what strategies have you found work for the different types of people you have in your business?
Uh, you know, just listen. You just gotta listen and the biggest part of it I think that I got from managing is if you find the right people, managing is easy. Um, but I will tell you management is the hardest job ever because you cannot control people. And the moment you think you can is probably the moment you'll fail. Um, so in order to be a good leader, I think if you remove toxicity from your organization, you're going to be very happy. You're going to have people that work together. You're going to have a team that um, will will bat for each other, right? They'll take a bullet for you. Um, so yeah, I mean, to your question, it's not adjusting to each person. It's really finding the right people and making sure the people that don't fit your organization and don't let them in. And if they're already in, get them out.
So don't letting them in is a tough thing, yeah? Recruitment and hiring are, some people like to think they're science, other people think they're art forms, yeah? So does the business have a system? Have you got your own system? How
Uh,
do you make sure you bring the right people in?
well, actually, I give credit to a person on my team. So Gabby does an amazing job at hiring. Nobody steal her. So if anybody's listening to this podcast, you cannot steal her from me. But she's phenomenal at hiring. The effort that she puts in, the I have 1,000% trust in my team. So, I if she thinks this person's good, and she's made two great, phenomenal hires for our team this last year and the year before. Um, and yeah, her process, it's taxing. It takes a lot of energy because we, um, you know what, the this class called career visioning that's taught by Keller Williams is a very good tool to use to hire. And it's 2-day class, very in depth. It utilizes the Keller personality assessment that we talked about, and that gives us a really good glimpse of what that person is like. And we go through a verification process. So we go through that with the person and go, is this really you? And personality tests aren't 100% right. And in general, whatever's on that piece of paper, it's 80%. So we will be able to at least get a good idea if if we're going to bring in a good person or not. So,
Okay. So just changing over to operations then. So, how what's your day look like? Yeah. You got 300 people. What do you do? Day in the life of Lyman.
uh, what do I do? It varies, it kind of varies day to day, and it depends on what my objective is. Right, like right now, my objective is rebuilding a solid marketing team. So right now I'm looking through interviews, not interviews, applications. So I'm looking through applications, finding people to build this team with. Um, I'm taking care of a lot of administrative things. So making sure that the team has what they need, checking with them. Let me bring this back. Let me actually pull up my calendar and really take a look at it. So, um, I don't want to show you my calendar because you might go blind. But a typical day like today, I'm just in meetings all day long. So I'm meeting with agents, assisting them, making sure they have what they need for their business. Meeting with vendors to go over specific things. We're onboarding a new program to our office, and typically those things are handled by one of our team members, but they needed my input, so I'll have to jump into those. I had a couple interviews set up to meet potential virtual assistants that I'm looking for the market center. And then I coach agents. So I spend a lot of time coaching agents to help them with their business. And that's another part of what I do. So I didn't even talk about that piece. So operations coaching, um, financial review. So I'll take a look at finances twice a week. I will meet with my boss, the president of KW Advisors, and meet with him once a week. I have my own coach, and I'll meet with agents that are not with us, right? Um, and hopefully, maybe they will join us, and I can motivate them to be a part of our world. That's a big part. I need to grow the company as well. And then sometimes I'll get, emergency fires or certain requests that I need to look over, or and then we have another side of the business, which we have an amazing broker that handles transactions and takes care of any issues there. And we also have to have a meeting. So my job is really meetings, after meetings, decide on direction on if there's a problem, figure out a solution, find the right person to implement it. And yeah.
Okay, listening to that, it sounds like you have a rhythm and a balance. Yeah. Some leaders are driven by, they read some KPIs and they go, right, this week is going to be, I don't know, sales week, and next week's going to be complaints week or whatever. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you have a regular rhythm. Yeah. Um, and that's kind of based on the fact, I guess, that you've got a team you trust that you mentioned before. Yeah. Um, but you know, the coaching bit I found quite interesting. That you're doing that, and is that because that's part of the system in the business, or is that because you do that because you want to keep close to the shop floor or what's actually going on?
Yeah, a little bit of both. We have some expectation of coaching, and we use it as you can use it as a check-in, but it's really more of a sticky point that making sure our agents are successful. So yeah, it's a little bit of both. It allows me to build a really tight relationship with them. And if you know anything about this industry, like people are constantly trying to recruit your agents every day. So it's a battle. There's only so many agents, producing agents in a specific area. So they're all fighting for the same pie. And anytime we're not providing value is a chance for them to take something, take an agent from you. So it's an added piece that I think we do that's unique.
Okay. So you mentioned the word producing agents, yeah? So I'm presuming that's a KPI you track. So tell me about what KPIs that you run this business with.
There's I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for this, but who cares? Uh, there's what there's the model that they teach us, and usually it's by gross number of recruits, and then go by net. Like how many people do you bring in, and how many people that you that exit your door. If real estate's a very high attrition business, so that's one. For producing agents, we definitely track producing agents, and um, in our in our specific industry, we have what we call cappers, and these people produce enough where after a certain threshold, they get 100% of their commission. They keep 100%. So our goal is to produce as many cappers as possible because it's good for them, it's good for us, right? From a company revenue standpoint, we can increase our revenue while and they can increase their take home. Um, yeah, and we kind of have different categories for them. So there's quarter, half, and then a full cap.
Okay.
And yeah, so we want to increase every level, and essentially we want to bump them from new agent to quarter to half to full.
Okay. So you said you're rebuilding, for example, your marketing team. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
was that driven by people leaving, or was that driven by you saying, I'm not happy with some KPIs? How do you, what I'm trying to explore for the listeners is how does a chief executive think, right? What makes you go, right, I need to act in this space?
Yeah. Complaints is one. Um, Reviewing the quality of the work that was coming out, and I felt like there were limitations. So we used to have in-house, then we used a vendor, and now the vendors are making some changes, and I decided to scrap that entire department and said we're going to rebuild from scratch, and we need to create a new vision that gives our agents value. So whenever I see um, anything within our market center that's not really providing value, that has no return on investment, then I will make a shift. Like, is it a cost issue? Is it a people issue? Is it an operational issue? I kind of look at different aspects, and then who needs that resource the most? So, and I came with the decision, like I was frustrated because our marketing is not representative of our company. And when they're misaligned, then we have to make a change.
Okay. So give the listeners some idea of what a great marketing looks like in real estate. Yeah. Well, maybe say, what was your most successful growth initiative? Yeah.
Uh, I mean, there was this like great Instagram reel that I think about. I wish I can find it. But essentially, marketing is a strategy, right? It's people look at a flyer that's marketing, or looking at an email that's marketing. Marketing is really a strategy of how do you use email, snail mail, phone calls, email campaigns, ads in one cohesive movement to reach your goal. And I don't believe we had that. Like I was still kind of directing our marketing to do one-off projects versus I need somebody to actually create a cohesive plan that we can execute. Um, because we have an objective, and our objective is, well, I have two main objectives now, and one is how do I highlight our brokerage to become um, well known throughout San Mateo County, not just agents. Agents know us, but I want them to know that this is who we are and what we're about, and make sure that there's no misunderstanding, right? And then on the consumer side, that they see us as the number one brokerage, luxury brokerage in the peninsula. So in order to do that, we needed somebody to be able to craft a strategy to execute on both.
Okay. And who do you follow in the industry that you think's great at sales and marketing and brand in the real estate industry? Who do you think's got it sorted?
Yeah, I don't think anybody has it sorted, really. Uh, you know, I think every company has their niche, right? And um and I'm trying to think of some specific examples of brands that I felt like they do a really good job. Um, I like Porsche. It's not real estate. Sorry, I'm not following the
Doesn't
real
have to
estate
be real estate. It's just like,
guy. But I think Porsche's brand is so it's prestigious, right? And um and when a person drives a Porsche, you go, ah. And the funny thing is, Porsche just doesn't like they create these amazing sports cars, but a big bulk of their production is non-sports cars. They're SUVs. But even with that, like their brand is so strong that that's all they think about is sports cars. So I'm just really impressed by their brand power, and that's kind of what I envision building for for our marketing team to replicate.
wow, that's quite some job spec for them, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I have high expectations and I have high demands, and I like the challenge.
Yeah.
I think it's what makes life interesting. If it gets boring, um, that's when I go, you know what? I'm looking for another challenge. So
Okay. So challenges coming down the line. I mean, technology, AI, um, Gen AI, automation, self-service, Web3, all the rest of it. It feels like there's a bunch of tech out there that's, everyone's waiting for it to sort of unleash itself on businesses and change the way we work profoundly. Yeah. So does does that something that concerns you, or what's the approach you have to fostering innovation, harnessing innovation?
I'm embracing AI. I use AI daily, whether it's organizing my thoughts, um, asking for suggestions, even generating business plans, uh, even crafting a website. Like all of that can be done at breakneck speeds that would have taken days or weeks to do. So Will it take over the entire industry? I don't think so. I could be dead wrong, but for now, it's you're right. There are so many tools. You can get buried and you can pay for every single software out there and just waste a lot of money in that space, right? If you're going to use technology, then figure out what you want the technology to do for you. I mean, this is what technology companies do in the first place. They look for a problem that they want to solve and they try to solve it. And a lot of times the problem that they're solving wasn't really a problem in the first place. So for our industry, people are constantly trying to take it away every day, right? Whether it's doing taking away a person's compliance job or and that's kind of a big one, the compliance side. So I'm hearing other companies trying to automate that, and it kind of makes sense. They're probably going to be better at checking certain things than the human, but um, in terms of the buying and selling of real estate, that's still going to be a personal person to person business for now, at least, until um, until technology is trusted enough to where I can put my house on the market and it will sell.
Yeah, just to
So
understand though, does your company within the franchise group, do you invest in your own technology or is that a central thing? You know,
yeah,
does that work?
our owner does reinvest into technology, so he's constantly building something. Yeah, there's something in the pipelines right now that they're working on that will be released probably in the next month or two. And yeah, you do need your own technology these days. If you don't, you end up kind of handcuffed to these other companies. And if another company buys them out, then your information is theirs. So there's
So essentially, the group has got a strategy for its platform. Obviously, that would include AI, and from your point of view, that's kind of what you're relying on, really. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for the most part. And I don't I don't know if AI is is quite there yet. I mean, it can do a lot of great things, but I mean, in an agent's day to day, can it be an assistant? Not really. Can it? What else? What else can it do? It still requires you to prompt, right?
So, in terms of running your operation efficiently, and we've just been talking about an idea for productivity, yeah, that technology might bring. Yeah. How do you know that your operation's efficient as you scale? You talked about you've got a big operation, you're looking to grow it. You like to run things efficiently, which probably means you're not recruiting any more direct reports. Yeah. You're just going to sweat them a bit harder. So, how do you deal with that scale issue and keeping productivity as the span of control gets more complicated?
Uh, yeah. It's there's no one answer to that question. There's no right answer. You're constantly putting band-aids on problems right now, because we've grown to a size where it's become inherently hard to to oversee 300 people with the team that we have. Um, so for I start looking at it with the financial lens first and seeing where we're at. And to be transparent, the real estate industry has been hit hard. Margins used to be really big for real estate brokerages. They've been whittled down year over year, so which makes my job incredibly hard, right? And I'm essentially make like I have to maximize every dollar we spend. So for that, and that's from the financial lens, like what money am I outputting on a monthly basis? What can I dial back? Can we find something better that gives us a better return? And then you're right, I'm not hiring any more direct reports because the budget isn't there. And so what do we do? We try to build systems and models that allow us to be efficient, making sure that if we build a process for a certain aspect or part of our operations, that it's repeatable and we can replicate it. So we're starting to lean more on virtual assistant, and then having my direct reports being able to manage them as well. So creating efficiencies with dollars that, you know, less financial cost.
Okay.
Yeah, it's honestly, I like having people in person because, I mean, we're on a podcast on Zoom, but there, like if we had sat down in person, the this would be totally different conversation. It would feel completely different. And not having that connection with your team, I think, does break morale because we do have a team member that's not in our same location. She's in a different location that's not very far away, but the core team is still housed in one location. So um, I believe people like to be around people, and you can do more. You can do bigger things. So
I think I agree with you in certain industries, right? I think your industry, recruitment and consultancy, and a number of others, the human dynamic is very important. I know lots of programmers who are quite happy never to meet another human again. Yeah. So
I'm one of those people. So
uh,
I say that knowing that I I don't mind being locked up in the office and putting my head down.
yeah,
Um, but unfortunately, that's not the role I'm in. So, but yeah, I totally understand that
yeah.
point.
I mean, developers call that context switching, where you need some deep focus time and you can't get it. Yeah. So it's a challenging place to be.
I get it. I mean, off the record, I spent some time in Hong Kong with my friend who's a software engine. He's a software engineer. I went to learn how to write software for a month, and that deep focus is I have to commend every single software engineer. It is extremely difficult, but what they have to do and takes massive brain power.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. The good ones, anyway. So, let's sort of move a little bit now to sort of, closing off this session. I think, it's been very interesting in terms of the very measured and organized way that you run your operation and the way that you understand which areas you need to focus on at a particular time. And you're always looking for that next step and improvement and path forward. So I think there's some good lessons for the listeners there. But I'd like you to now think about you're talking to a 20-year-old, yeah, who wants to enter the real estate industry. What advice would you give them? What should they do to make sure they have a long and successful career?
uh, yeah, actually, for the person that's entering that's 20 years old, you have to have a hustle mentality. That's number one. Um, don't expect to succeed in your first 2 years. If you're gonna think that, oh, I'm gonna make that $1 million in your first year, like there's always exceptions to the rule, but most people have a very tough time in their first year. Finding a very good mentor, a person that will take you under their wing, is so important. and lead generation. It's all about generating leads, doing the activities. If you want to speed up really, really fast, find a team, find a highly successful real estate team that's looking for agents, and you will learn transactions 10 times faster than going at it alone.
Okay. So let's end with a positive then. What do you see as exciting about the industry? What fun and growth and new great things do you see on the horizon?
Uh, you know, real estate, there's always opportunity. No matter like no matter on an up cycle, down cycle, and it's going to be proven over and over again that real estate is a way for you to build wealth. It's a way for you to get away from having a regular job if you don't want to. And um, in our area, you know, you have to be more creative. We don't have any more land. So, like not like other areas. So for me in general, how I'm seeing real estate, um, there's just so much demand that hasn't been met in the last couple of years that it's all going to come in a huge wave. And I'm not an economic expert, so but based off what we've seen, our inventory, it's been really small. So you're just having all these people that want to buy or looking to go upsize or downsize. They're all waiting on the sidelines right now. So I see that as this is just like a reservoir of potential transactions that will happen. So yeah, a lot of real estate to be done, and um, I think technology. I'm excited to see what new technology comes out to assist and make things easier for real estate to transactions to happen. So,
Well, thank you, Lyman. Been very insightful. So just for any listeners, any agents who want to connect with you and join up, how should they get in touch?
you can shoot me an email. It's pretty simple. It's lyman.chow@kw.com. You can follow me on Instagram at just food and real estate. Um, yeah, I love to eat. So, Chris, I don't know, where are you based out of?
I'm based out of Liverpool in the UK.
Oh, okay. Well, if I come to UK, we'll grab some fish and chips.
That'll be great. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can find me at uh, email lyman.chow@kw.com or just food and real estate on Instagram.
Thank you very much, Lyman.
Thanks, Chris.